Hi YouTube, I'm pretty excited because I've finally been able to get myself a set of Premium DNA Madballs figures. That's not these guys, these are the original ones that I'm going to show you first, and then we can compare the two. So that first guy is called Bru Brother. This is Wolf Breath. Like I say, this is the original series from the 80s, so these are made by AmToy. This is Lock Lips, he's one of the ones that I owned when I was a kid. Then you got Skull Face. And this is Oculus Orbis. He's one of my favourite ones, just like a big eyeball for a head. Then you've got Slobulus. And this guy's called Dust Brain. And this is probably my other favourite one, Hornhead. And then finally at the end here we've got Screaming Mimi. So those are the original figures. They had like little springs in their heads. And basically their heads were made of rubber. So you could pull a little lever on the back and their heads would come flying off. And they're a bit like big kind of bouncy balls, really. I used to like to keep mine really in good condition, so I didn't used to ping the head off all over the place. But some other kids would ping them all over the playground and things and wreck them quite easily. So this particular toy line of Madballs from the 80s was probably my favourite toy line of all time, apart from maybe Kenner Star Wars figures. They're really cool little toys, really good size, and yeah, I just love them. I love all the characters, and I couldn't imagine that anything would be kind of better than these. But this new line of Madballs figures have really kind of impressed me, and I'm just going to show you basically like the first wave of the figures, which I've just managed to kind of get hold of, and I think you'll agree they've done a really good job of them. Okay, you ready for this? These are the new ones. What do you think? I think they're pretty awesome. Like the colour schemes are amazing on these. They're really well painted up, really nice bright colours. So again, here you've got Hornhead and then Oculus Orbis. This one I think is particularly cool. All the muscles and everything really kind of pop out because of the way they've painted it. Then you've got Bru Brother. So those you can see they were in the original lot, same figures. But then this next guy you've got is called Splitting Headache. So they did make an original Madballs ball, if you like, of this. They were all released as kind of balls originally, and this was one of them, but they never made a figure of him until now, and I think he is really awesome with like half his skeleton showing. And then at the end here there's a new figure called Trashing Pumpkin, and this particular one's got some special features that I'll show you in a bit. So my original plan in this video was to show you all of these new, this is wave 1 of Premium DNA Madballs figures, just to kind of show you what they look like, get you used to them, and also do a comparison with the original Madballs figures, so you can see like things like the size difference, the color difference, and yeah, you can see what a good job they've done basically of these new figures. They've got way more kind of points of articulation and that kind of thing. They're much bigger, really heavy. You get a lot for your money kind of thing. They come with lots of little kind of extras as well, so like things like sets of different hands, weapons and that kind of thing, and I'll show you each figure later with their bits and bobs that come with them. Right, I think probably the first thing I should do is a comparison with the original figures, because this will give you a much better idea of things like scale and colour differences. So here's the original little Hornhead. Like I say, he was one of my favourites back in the day. But if we compare him to the new one, you can see straight away the new one is way more substantial. And I think I prefer the colour scheme on this new one. He's much kind of brighter, stands out really well. He's a really cool purple colour. But yeah, you can see next to each other, there's a huge difference in size. Okay, we'll do a comparison next between the two different Oculus Orbis figures. You can see the original one was a really much brighter red colour, but it was quite a flat red. And although he used to be one of my favourites as well, you can see with this new figure, there's a lot more kind of detail that kind of really pops out, because you've got all the dark reds in between the muscles and also the blue veins and things as well. Again, this new one is much more substantial and heavy. Okay, you've also got Bru's Brother here, and you can see the small one is literally just a smaller version really of the big one. But incidentally, with these new big figures, you can take off their arms and their hands and their feet and legs and things, and their heads as well, and you can interchange them with each figure. This means you can play around with different combinations, and you could come up with some quite interesting looking figures. A lot of people like to keep these in their boxes, and the boxes as well do look really cool, and they would look good together, but they just take up too much space for me, so I've got them all loose. But you can see, like, as a little group, you could, you know, position them together in a cabinet or something, and just the colours of all of them would just look amazing like this as a little grouping. You can see there as well that the Trashin' Pumpkin figure comes with an extra head. So I think I'm going to next go through all of the bits and bobs that come with each figure to give you an idea what those look like. So we'll start again with Hornhead, and you can see here I've positioned him with all the bits that come with him. And this is a good opportunity as well for us to have a kind of a zoom in and look at all the details on this. So look at his eye, for example, with all the little veins and things painted on. The detailing is amazing on this, and you know, they've all been kind of like hand finished, so they'll all be kind of subtly different to each other, but I think they've done a really good job. Everything seems to be really well painted. As somebody that makes quite a lot of creatures from movies and things and does sculpts of them, I really appreciate all this paintwork, because I have to do similar kind of stuff to my figures. So things like dry brushing, you know, adding you know, blobs and things on the ends of bumps and that sort of thing, and just trying to get everything to look really kind of crisp and clean, and just, yeah, get all the detail to pop out. It's a real kind of talent. So when I see figures that have been done as well as this, I get really kind of excited about it. What you'll notice as well is a lot of the paints are different. So some of them are matte, they've got a like nice matte finish, and then, you know, they've used shiny paints on, you know, things like the nails and that kind of thing to make them really kind of pop out. And I love that. I love all the details and the way that all that works. And like I say, there's so many points of articulation on these kind of arms and legs and things. And also they got really nice big feet, so they stand really well. Okay, I'll show you the little hands that come with each figure. They tend to be the same for most of them. So you've got some that are open at the top there. You've got these ones with pointy fingers. The original Madballs figures, the small ones, had one pointy finger, I believe, and one that is kind of closed up. So you could interchange these to match the original figures if you want. I just decided to have all my figures with a slightly open hand that is good for holding objects, just in case I wanted them to hold any of these bits and bobs. So you can see Hornhead comes with this amazing kind of big kind of chicken or turkey drumstick, and it's got worms all over it and a few beetles. So really nice touch. And yeah, the detailing even on these little kind of items that they hold is really good. Lots of different paint colors, lots of getting the paint to kind of pop out, just to show up all the details really nicely. So here you can see he's got like a ball and chain, and if you have a look closely, obviously you can see this is a little Madballs ball on its own, and I just really love this as well. It's kind of like a dark grey, and it's got all kind of silver dry brushing on the kind of top points. So again, it really makes that sort of eye pop out. All of the little bumps and things really pop out, and the teeth as well. So really nice detailing on that, nice little touch. And then we've got this club. And again, if you look at this straight away, it's like just a really cool looking thing. You've got a skull at the front there, got blood dripping down it, and then all of these nice spikes all over the place. And you can see there's a tooth sticking out of it, and a couple of nails kind of bashed into the club. It's like a really cool looking weapon. And they've put a lot of effort into thinking, you know, what would look good with these particular figures, and what would they have chosen back in the day. And I'd imagine they would have chosen something just like this, because it just really suits the original range of figures. So that's Hornhead with all his bits and bobs. You'll have to let me know in the comments which figure is your kind of preferred one. and maybe which one you like best when it comes to, you know, the bits and bobs that come with them. I do just really love the purple coloration on this one. It just really makes it stand out with the other figures. Right, onto Oculus Orbis. If we have a look at him and do a close-up on him. I mean, I've already mentioned the eyeball really stands out, really pops out. Again, that's because of the dry brushing and things on the blue part, the iris of the eye. Also, the veins, you can see they've put the red veins in over the top, and that's on top of all the bumps of the veins, so they really show up. I like the way they've done a black outline around the iris of the eye as well. And then, yeah, you've got all of the dark reds in all the deepest places to show up all those muscles, and then the blue veins over the top. Again, they really just kind of pop out nicely. I like the sort of pale brown bits as well, which could be, I don't know, bits of bone sticking through or something. And then you've got the pink bits that kind of show up ligaments and things on the hands and the feet. Just overall, just a really nice looking figure that stands out even from a great distance. Just really shows up nicely. You can see on the back as well, got a nice brown stripe down his kind of vertebrae of his back. And then, yeah, just same colour scheme all the way through the back. Right, let's go through all his bits and bobs. You've got the same kind of situation with the hands where you got some open ones, then some pointing ones, and then some ones that have got closed fists. But if we have a look at his bits and bobs, so you've got a really cool set of binoculars here. Got green slime on them, you've got a little bug, little beetle, and then you've got this really nice brown strap that is kind of like a softer plastic or rubber, so it's quite stretchy. But I love the eyeballs on the end of these. You can imagine him holding them, so he's like an eyeball with a couple of eyeballs sticking through the binoculars as well. Again, really nice texture on these, and they just feel like really good quality when you pick them up as well. Then we've got this magnifying glass. Again, like really nice, like the cracks on this really show up with that kind of bright blue down, deep down into that crack. And then you've got like the little beetles or ants or whatever on there. And you've got green slime on the handle again. I love the little screw that's just like screwed into the handle. Really nice kind of Phillips screw. That again shows up really well. Every detail that they've put on, they've painted to really kind of bring out the feature of it. So a little telescope here, again with the eyeball, looks particularly good when you hold that up against him, as if he's holding it sort of thing. Again, green slime, look, you can imagine him holding it. It'd look pretty funny. So yeah, all the hands, like I say, exactly the same as before, just show you them a bit more close up. So you got this one, the open hand, then you got this one where he's pointing again. So again, like I said before, you could set him up so he looks just like the original Oculus Orbis in regards to the type of hands that he's got, and these are the little closed fist ones. I really love that you get all of these little extra hands. Just adds another element to the figures. I don't think I'm going to be interchanging their limbs and heads or anything very much, but I can imagine that some people will have a lot of fun with that. Right, on to Bru Brother. Let's have a real close-up look at him. So all of the details really cool on this one. You've got like blood coming out of bullet holes on his helmet. You've got like purple lips, and again they've got some nice dry brushing to bring out the texture. Same with his sort of beard area. You've got screws going in there. You've got these kind of cool decals everywhere, like skull and crossbones. Yeah, all kinds of bits and bobs, spikes sticking out. Another bit of bloodlet pouring down from a bullet hole. Lovely touch. And then you've got like his bullet belt. That's really cool. All the little bullets, nice and silvery. So anything where you add little bits of like silver metallic, again, those really show up nicely. Got a rope belt like the original figure. He's got his nipple pierced there, look. Another decal there on his shoulder. That's really cool. So yeah, everything just is like details, details, details everywhere you look. On his boots as well, I love the sort of the ring bit on the leather. That looks really cool. And yeah, bits and bobs like blood on the front of one of his feet, got slime coming out of one of his toenails. It's all those little details. I'm not sure what this sort of pipe thing is that's sticking out the top of his helmet. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you know what that is. It will probably come to me at some point and it'll be really obvious, but anyway. Oh, you can see he's got a little knife holster on the back here. That's important. Like in a minute I'll show you the knife that he has that comes with him, because I think, yeah, it just slots in the back there if you want to. Right, on to his bits and bobs that come with him. So we've got, first thing here is a bee's nest. This is quite a nice touch. It's got one of those kind of really obvious bees nests that hang from trees. So you've got all the little kind of wrapped around effect of the sort of paperiness of the bee's nest, and then just covered in bees and lots of kind of honey dripping out of it. And it kind of doubles up as a really interesting kind of clubbed weapon. So that's a nice touch. And then we've got this baseball bat. Again, it's all the little touches on this. So you've got things like a nail sticking out. You've got little screws sticking out all over the place. Apologies for my camera sort of going in and out of focus, but hopefully you'll get the overall idea. You've got what looks like a sort of a bite mark out of it as well, and then lots of teeth all over the place. I like where there's a sort of a metal looking plate and it's got like a couple of screws in it. That's a theme that they've used on other things as well, which I'll show you in a bit, like the skateboard has got that, I think, that you see later on another figure. But yeah, lots of screws and nails sticking out of that. Here's the little knife, if I can get it to focus. Again, it's quite a small knife, but it looks really cool, and it goes in that little holster in the back of the figure if you want to as well. Just another nice little kind of extra. And this guy comes with like an extra hand that you can put on, which is a big boxing glove. What I really like about this is the detailing on it really makes it look like red leather. It's really well painted. You've got the little kind of stringy bits as well. Again, like teeth sticking out of it and slime all over it as well. Even the blue stitching really stands out and looks realistic as well. So I really like that as an extra kind of feature. I don't know if I'll end up putting it on my particular Bru Brother. I'll just probably display him with the hands that I've put on him. But it's nice that you've got those extras so you can if you want to. Okay, on to the splitting headache figure. This guy has probably got my favourite range of extras, but we'll come on to those in a second. So if we look at him, this is the amazing feature with him, is that it looks like you've got his skull popping out of half of his head. Like his skin has been sort of cut off and removed, and you can see his skull underneath. Really nice touch. Again, really bright red blood. You've got a bit hole in the side here with a bit of brain sticking out. Nice blue colour. The colour scheme on this I just really love. I love all this kind of bright green slime. Love the pale blue with the darker blue, and then the bones with the different colours. So they really stand out as well. I'm so glad they decided to finally do this figure as a figure and not just a ball. Like, he was really cool when he used to be just a ball back in the 80s, but as a figure he's, yeah, really worth doing. It looks amazing. The bones I think they've done particularly well. They just show up so well, and they just are really cool shapes as well. There's little tiny pit marks in the bones as well, so it's really good texture. As with so many of the other figures as well, he's got like bits where it looks like some of his skin has been kind of sewn together. So this one's got like white stitching, and even those little areas look good too. It's just the more you look at these figures, the more details you see, basically. That's what I love about them. Okay, let's go on to his bits and bobs. We've got a skateboard, which obviously straight away, you know, I'm somebody that loves skateboarding, so I'm a little bit biased here. But everybody as well, growing up in the 80s, everybody had a skateboard, and we all used to do things to kind of patch it up. So you've got like metal plate, you've got a plaster on here, you've got like bits of string and things holding it all together. So where people used to break their skateboards, they just used to kind of make do and mend with it. you can see the wheels are all attached on with like screws and nails and things. So it's just a really nice touch. And this is one of those kind of old school style looking skateboards as well. I obviously used to collect Garbage Pail Kids stickers as well back in the 80s, so I've collected back all of those. It's just this sort of gross out feature. So if we look here, you've got a crowbar with a brain sticking on it, and then you've got an eyeball at one end as well. So this is probably my favourite kind of all of the weapons that they all hold. Bits of blood kind of pouring down it. It's just a really gory looking thing with the brain in the middle. I just love that. It's a really cool little touch. And this bone as well. Again, it's the texture of the bone. You've got like a big sort of crack going through it. You've got a little metal plate with screws, and you've got this kind of like bolt going through it as well. And then you've got a little redback spider. Nice touch. So yeah, all of these little weapons are great. And I may display all my Madballs figures at some point in a cabinet, and if I do, I'll probably have them holding all of these, or have the weapons and things next to them at least. Same deal with the hands on this one. You've got the hands that are more open, you've got the hands with the pointy fingers, and you've got the closed fists as well. This was the figure that I managed to buy first on eBay, and every figure that I've bought since, you know, when you buy them, they look cool on their own, but as soon as you put them next to each other, they look even cooler. They're just figures that look best when they're kind of together. So the next figure, Trashing Pumpkin, this wasn't released as part of the kind of original Wave 1. It was just those other 4 figures. But this guy is a kind of an extra, and he's got some special features which I'll talk about later, but we'll look at the details first. So you've got this kind of green slime coming from his head, you've got a worm sticking out of his mouth there, this eyeball is kind of popping out, and can you see the way that the gory bit of the eye is all shiny? It's all painted with shiny paints. The rest of his head is all painted with matte paint, like that kind of green bit sticking out the top, like the stalk. That's all matte. I love all the things like the tendrils coming down the arms and wrapping around his leg. What I don't like about his feet here is that his nails are painted on one side, all nice and shiny and sort of black or metallic kind of finish, and on the other side they're not painted at all. I don't like that, so I'll probably end up painting his toenails on the other side to match. I'm just a bit picky like that. On the back here, look, you've got another worm coming out of a slit on the back of his head, and then look, you've got a knife sticking into the bottom slit on his head, just kind of popping out there, a little knife, why not? I love the kind of purple finish of his coat on this one. There is another Trashing Pumpkin figure as well with like a brown coat, but I think I prefer this one. And like I say, this one's got this other feature which I'll show you in a bit. I love his sort of stripy top as well with the shiny silver. So if we have a look here, he's got a nice pitchfork. This is a really big weapon. It's probably the biggest of all of the weapons. Looks like you've got like a sort of a lower intestine sticking on to the prongs of the fork. And you've got more sort of worms and things wrapped around it, slime. Then we've got this wrench. And detailing on this is cool as well. Again, you've got like a sort of tendril going around it. You've got an eyeball stuck on the end there, with all the sort of gory bits. And I love that if you look down the end of any of these, you can see the little hexagonal shapes needed for undoing nuts. So you do get the impression that you could actually use that, even though obviously you can't because it's kind of a soft rubbery plastic. Okay, then we've got this cool thing. I'm not sure exactly what you would call this, but it's a cool bit of it's a cool shape with, again, loads of little nails and things sticking out. You've got screws going into it, something kind of strapped around it and wrapped around the middle bit. Just really nice detailing. Again, I'm sorry my camera seems to appear to not want to focus on this. It's always the way when you're trying to do a video. But anyway, hopefully it gives you the idea. It's a pretty cool extra feature. Right, moving on to his hands. He has like a couple of extra ones compared to the other figures. So you've got this one with a tendril on it, and then you've got those two open hands without tendrils. This pointy finger with a tendril on, and the other one hasn't got a tendril. So there's various kind of options you could do here. You've got a closed fist one with a tendril and a closed fist one without a tendril. And then you've got these two open ones. So this would be if you wanted to display him without any tendrils at all, you could use those two hands. And then he comes with this extra one, which is like not one that can be attached on, but it's like an extra, like a sort of a dead zombie looking hand. You can see it's in a sort of a neutral greyish green colour with these kind of grey blotches on it, as if it's from a dead person, which is nice. And then obviously he comes, you can see the hands that I chose to put on there, the two open hands with tendrils, because I like as much kind of detailing as possible. And you've got the extra head there without the eyeball sticking out. So I'll just do a quick close-up to show you that. You can see basically with the other head, it's similar, but yeah, like I say, no gory eyeballs sticking out. You've just got this kind of cross shape carved into the pumpkin instead. Bit of nice green slime underneath, and these two slits at the back of the head, but without the knife sticking out. And you've got a similar stalk on the top. So it's basically similar, but different. It's nice to have an extra head, but I think I prefer the one with the eyeballs. Again, for me, it's just the more detail, the better, and the gorier, the better too. Right, I said this guy had an extra feature to him, and the extra feature is that he glows in the dark. So he's called the Apparition Edition, and what I've done here is I've tried to video him under UV lights, various different UV lights. So I've got some that are like short wave UV, some that are long wave UV, just to give you an idea. But you can see here he really kind of glows up. You can obviously put him under a bright light and then he just glows in the dark, just a little bit, you know, like normal glow in the dark toys do. So the brighter a light you put him under first, the brighter he glows, but it's better under UV light. This is why I went for the Apparition Edition rather than just the normal pumpkin head figure who just has like a brown coat. I just thought this guy looks better with a purple coat anyway, but yeah, I think this feature is particularly cool because you don't know that he's going to glow until you actually shine a UV light on him or turn the lights off. So on the head, he's basically got, I think it's paint that has been kind of like speckled onto his head, and so it gives this really kind of cool effect. The glowing that you're seeing on his chest area is just my UV light kind of shining on the silver. But yeah, it's mainly his arms that show up really bright green and his legs. And the actual head is a bit different. I guess because they wanted him to look like an apparition and not just like he's just brightly glowing all over. I mean, they could have just made his whole head and his whole body like this sort of bright green colour, or a colour that would glow really well like his arms and legs do. But I quite like the fact that his head and things don't glow quite as much. It just looks really quite eerie and quite creepy, especially under this UV light. So you could set him up in a cabinet and just have a shortwave or a long wave UV light or a black light or something in the cabinet, and you could just turn it on at night time. So this is a different look. This is just where I've kind of charged him up under a bright light first. Look, you can do this. You can shine a torch on all of his features and then just turn the light off, and then you can see he glows, and that gradually fades, but you can see that it starts off quite bright initially. So that's another different way that he glows. This next light that I'm going to show you is basically just like a black light, and you can see when I shine it around, you can see like certain bits glowing. So I had quite good fun just making this video and just kind of shining the different lights around onto him just to see what he did. So this is just another kind of look. Hoping this bit of the video will show you that kind of speckling on his head. It's pretty cool. I think they've just used flecks of different paints that really kind of, they give this sort of like glittery effect up close in this kind of UV light. Looks really cool, but I'm not entirely sure how they've done it, but that's how I imagine they've done it, just with like speckling. So yeah, I hope you sort of get the idea with this, and I hope you like how it looks. Like I say, this wasn't one of the original kind of wave of 4 figures. He's like an extra edition. Right, I thought I'd just show you how I'm keeping all their accessories, because you could easily kind of lose these bits and bobs. So I thought if I keep them nicely like this, keep them all together. This is just one of those kind of little trays that you buy for keeping, well, I keep like all kinds of little figures, Lego figures and that kind of thing in these kind of containers. And it's perfect really. I've taken all the little kind of sections out, and yeah, they go in nicely in one of those. And then for the figures, one day I'd quite like to have them in a cabinet on display, but for now I've kept them all just in this wooden box, which keeps them in the dark. I don't think they would fade nowadays, but it's nice to keep them in the dark anyway, knowing that they're all safe, and I just keep this up on a shelf. Right, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you an idea of the new Madballs figures. Hit subscribe to see anything else that I post up on my channel in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.